So I got these, excuse me folks, pretty sick here. Got the Nitro 35 spline hubs here. I put one on already and I was having quite a bit of trouble with it actually. For one, there wasn't many instructions on the spacer, which way that goes. I think I got it all figured out now, but I'll show you some other problems I'm having. Is with this here. So when I have it on free with the hubs unlocked, as I spin my tire, it engages itself again. And right now this won't sit all the way in this little lock divot. So I'm gonna have to trim, I think, this down a little bit on both sides, just so that this can fully lock. Because any kind of friction there, it grabs it and then locks the hub back in itself again when the tire's spinning, which I don't really want that. So I'm guessing I have the same problem with the other one, obviously. This other side isn't so bad. That one sits pretty good. But I'm probably going to trim a little bit both of them, maybe make the groove a little bit deeper. And also, when it's in unlocked mode there, this when it's in there spinning and free, it's just barely clipping on here. So it is pretty tight with this spacer. So the spring goes in the hub, that goes on top, this goes down, and then the spacer goes on top of this, like this, sorry. So I might trim the spacer a little bit as well to give this a little bit more room. I'm not sure if I have enough spring material, or there should be lots of spring force, but this isn't disengaging far enough. It could also be where this is all sitting in place there. This goes in there, this sits in there, so this could be possibly a little bit too thick, or I'm having problems with. I'm gonna have to problem solve that scenario out. I gotta trim this up a bit so I can actually it'll hold unlock on me. Once I can do that, then I can try and troubleshoot why it's slightly engaging still. And I did use too thick a grease, and that was super sticky, so it wasn't allowing it to slide smoothly on the splines, which on my worn hubs and stuff I used grease and it was fine. I kept the water out of it, but this one you definitely want a nice like a lithium grease, something really not tacky at all, or just even like a gear oil or an engine oil of some sort. But and also I noticed that there's an O-ring in here that sits on this cover. So once there's too much force on this, when you have it bolted on, it's right now this turns super easy, but once there's pressure on this back piece, it kind of squishes it in and it's super hard to turn, like those Yukon hubs. So I'm gonna, obviously there's a little tiny assembly oil or whatever for this. I want to oil this up a little bit better and see what I have to do to make this spin better. Just so I don't have to use like pliers every single time we gotta unlock the hubs. See if we can make these a little bit better anyways. So it's engaged there, turning it by hand. Not hoping how I'm doing it. Okay, it's free. It'll do that, it'll lock itself again. So if I, there you go, it's free. If you can listen, I'll shut up, and then you can sort of hear it connecting, which I don't think it's the same problem. It's two different problems. That being able that that lock that I showed you before, those grooves aren't deep enough, which is why I think it catches and then it brings itself back in. But you can hear it slightly, just barely engaging, and then you can hear it grab and lock in. and then there you go, she's locked. So it's a problem that I don't really want. Not ideal. So we're gonna try and clean up that other one, and then I'll pull this one off, slap the other one on there, and see if we can make it work any better. So got this cap here. I'm gonna try and clean it up a little bit and see if it fits any better. That one's pretty good. Just go deeper.
Sunday's game, you would have noticed they put up quite a good show for everybody. I mean, that Saturday one, they absolutely killed. To your faithful animal friend with full service burials and memorials. Call 963-7688 for an appointment. Kick your week off with Oregon Mondays. Makes it so much better. Brought to you by Domino's. Get the door. It's Domino's on Country 97 FM.
So, see if we can focus it here. It's sitting a lot better. So I did, I took back this edge here a little bit, brought these edges back on both sides. I made this groove a little bit deep. So I did take this down a little bit more just to make it more of a point with a flapper wheel. I didn't touch the middle at all, just kind of exaggerated the point on there just so it sits in here a little bit better. And it actually does sit a lot better in there. When it's in like the lock position here, you can it does actually hold it somewhat good. So, and I did take this down with a flapper wheel as well a little bit. Very, very slight. Maybe took off You look closely, you see the bevel on the left. All I did was take that bevel off on this side. So very, very slight amount, maybe 10, 15 thou. But I found my good Molykote grease too. So I'm gonna pull that whole hub out of the other side, clean that out really well, get all that sticky wheel bearing grease out of it, and then I will put this hub back in place, and we will see if it works. Ice in here, a little cold out today, and Great White North. So I think this grease, the stick wheel bearing grease, that's nice to keep water out of everything, is not helping me out with these hubs at all, I don't think. So we're gonna fix that problem as well, and then we might be going somewhere. So I'm sure if you're already watching this, you know how all this stuff goes, wheel bearings and so forth. Obviously I did 35 spline upgrades, chromoly, did chromoly inners and outers, and the 35 spline upgrade on the outers because these stock outer axles, these Data 60s, are a little bit weak. Excuse the train, the joys. So put this around here. Nothing special, just a regular hub. Still a little bit of grease in there, but I think I should be okay just in these little splines here. I'll put some of that moly coat on those other parts, and then I can clean these parts up and do the same thing if this one works. I will go grab that and put it all together. So I got this moly coat metal assembly. It's nice stuff. It's not tacky at all, and works real good. It's pretty expensive, but it's got some lubrications. So, as you can see, I just got the spring. I believe the Yukon ones, they have a little spring retainer or like a base plate that goes in first. These ones do not have it. So you got the spring, then you got this outer gear. Feels like it's sliding okay. Feels good. Put that aside for a sec. Move this one up. So this one goes inside of there. That feels pretty good. Now the spacer, this guy goes on. Now the real fun part. You're trying to do it by yourself. Luckily I ducked the spring on and off about 40 times yesterday, so she's a little worn or wore out, if you like to call it. Definitely not the most fun part to do by yourself, but sometimes that's all you got. Okay, that's on. So locked up in there. Okay, now this ring goes in like so. Then you got this mounting ring here. So that obviously has to line up with the grooves on that. Pretty self-explanatory. And this outside snap ring. So that's in. Now, so this obviously came together. I popped it out just to see what was going on. Just this little, where's the camera? There we go. Just this O-ring here. So I'm gonna pop that O-ring off, lube her up. I think that might be one of the reasons why it's tight to spin. Obviously, if that's dry, that's not gonna help out causes. Don't want her dry. Expecting to be not like you'd need instructions for the hubs, but it'd be nice to know. Like there's videos on the Yukon hubs, but I haven't found much on this one. So the spacer, I put it in on the wrong side, and it obviously didn't help. So that's all clipped together. It's all dirty now, but get her to work here. So when you put this cap on, these grooves here, this one and this one, obviously got to line up with these grooves here for the lock and unlock. I think the first time I did put it on, I did put that on in the wrong spot, which didn't help things, but I also took it on and off a lot yesterday, trying to figure it out which way it could go. A buddy of mine has these hubs as well. The reason I got them actually, because they are significantly cheaper than the Yukons, and it's kind of hard to find 35 spline hubs right now. He said, obviously mentioned, if you're over tightening these, it's going to make it harder for this to turn. I didn't have these like far from snug yesterday, and it was still tight. I would like to have them somewhat snug, and if it is a happy medium there in between, then I will once I find that happy spot, I'll just Loctite them in and just be one of those daily or pre-trip inspection things. Make sure your hubs aren't falling off. Doing everything backwards here. So it turns, locks on there, feels okay. Holy cow, I can turn it by hand. That's a good sign. Locked. Free, but it's still clicking. But it's not engaging. Well, we're halfway there. So this feels really nice actually. That turns beautiful. Not much. A lube O-ring can help you out quite a bit, I guess. Who'd have thought that, eh? But I don't think I like that. Not a fan of that. How can we fix that? It'll take some more thinking on that one, I think. But I'm happy with that on this part, functionality. pretty good there. So, since it's still clicking there, holding this guy in place and pushing all the way in, I notice that it is my shaft. The end of this shaft here is rubbing on the inside of this cover. And I don't think I want that either. So I'm gonna take about 1/8 of an inch maybe off. I'll start with a 16th first. And then that might allow it to kind of go in a little bit extra. I don't obviously want to go too much. This cap can't fall all the way in because it'll rest on this piece here. But it is a good 1/8 of an inch away from there. So I'll go a little bit. I just make sure that maybe that I can get that cap on all the way nice and tight without having this jam up as well. So we'll shave this shaft off a bit, and because it's not going to cause any weakness in that. I'd rather shave this off rather than shave this. And then we'll try that again. And if that doesn't work, this piece here, this guy that goes in, I can make maybe a little spacer that goes on the back side of this. So I got lots of room when it's locked this way. I got free float in here. I don't know if you can see it here. I got lots of free float there. So I was worried about making too much of a spacer for this and then having it so when my hub's engaged, it won't be engaged fully. But with this play I have here, I think I could probably add an 1/8 inch spacer or even a 16th, probably be enough, because it's just barely catching. So this way when it pushes in, it'll push that gear back just a little bit further, so it won't have that clicking, the partial engagement there. But we'll shave the shaft first, try that, and then we'll go to the spacer after that if that does not work. No, I didn't take it apart before I did that because I'd rather it stay on the surface of the grease out here, and then once I can confirm it works good, then I'll take it all apart, clean everything up nicely. if I took it apart first and then did that, then it could go into my wheel bearings potentially, and then I have to take everything right apart and do that. So I'd rather just make this stuff dirty, contaminate this, then I can pull this out and clean it rather than send everything further in there and do that. So either way, half a dozen one or the other, whatever the fuck the saying goes. Do it this way so you guys can complain about it. Could go a little bit more, but we will try this back out here. Oh, it still moves. It's got that play in there now. So that still clicks. Feels pretty good. Still turn it by hand. Let's grab the ratchet here so I can feel what's going on here. I think that's perfect actually. So when it's in free, it's just got a tiny bit of play back and forth. Probably hard to see from there obviously, but going by feel. When it's in lock, it's got a little bit of slop, but I don't really want to rub on that shaft. So it still makes that noise. So I probably could leave it and then it'll slightly wear in there. Like it's not, there's no binding at all. Like it's just barely clicking on it. It's not causing, it's not like it's popping in and out as I'm turning it. But rather than wear it in and possibly round out the corners of it slightly and then make more dust and shit and metal shavings for the wheel bearings to eat up, I'm going to make that little spacer that goes in behind so it doesn't do that. But this works good. Flock, free, turns beautiful actually. I don't see that ever binding up or causing problems, which is good. It has that play with the O-rings in there, so water shouldn't really be a problem. Be one of those things where I'll just take it apart and check it out after some water holes. See how she looks. Well, I'll pull this apart so I can clean it out and make the spacer, and I'll get back to you. Just to see how much I took off of here. So you can still see the tapers on the shafts here, all the way around there. A little bit thicker here. So I didn't go very much. We look at a stock axle maybe, or another axle here to. Yeah, it doesn't really show it. I have to show it. Yeah, this is why I went to 35 splines. This will be the 6th one that I broke 5. That's number 6 there coming at me. Well, I was digging through my bins of spare parts and stuff, and this is a outer lock ring for a hub on a Dana 44. It fits absolutely perfect. Doesn't look like that with what I'm doing here, but it's bang on. So you got a normal lock ring on a Dana 44 hub. There's a perfect spacer for this. So throw that in there quick and see if it makes a difference. I'm sure you guys are probably sick of me seeing me put this thing in and out, but hey, yesterday was worse. I guess we probably should lube that up again. Don't feel like getting more rubber gloves. We'll do it this way. What did I do with that ring? Here it is. That's on. The moment of truth shortly. Okay. I put that in the wrong spot. Jesus. No more noise. Lock. And nice and quiet. Oh. Take this back apart. Line that up properly. And I think we got her. Rock on. So I just line that up so at least the arrows match. Give it a final torque here. They look all pretty. Lock. Free. We're in business, folks. Thank you. Hopefully it helps someone out. I'm upside down, aren't I? How am I upside down? Here's here. Other than that, pretty nice hubs. They're internals. I've never had a set of the Yukon ones, but online pictures and everything, they look really similar. I'm sure there's probably material difference possibly or whatnot. I've broken a lot of other things. I haven't broke too many hubs, but we'll hopefully these hold up pretty good. Excuse me, a little bit of screwing around, but it's a lot cheaper than the Yukons, and if they work just as good, then that's a bonus. Didn't cost me much for screwing around, just a lot of some frustration yesterday, but we're here. It's done. And here's another look at the truck here. May see my shop's been stuck on cold. That's why I'm wearing toque and stuff and plugged up there. I'll have to get the HVAC guy in here to fix it. Well, there she is. Works like a beauty. One side's done. Now they've got the hubs figured out. Just waiting for my outer stub axle for this side. Then do this side too and do some more maintenance for the winter. Then she'll be ready for winter wheeling.